Hello, you're tuned into a special episode brought to you by the American Green Corner Sabah, a project by the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur in partnership with the Sabah State Library at the Tanjung Aru branch KK. Now, the American Green Corner is all about fostering education and cultural exchange between the US and Sabah. For more information, please follow us on Instagram and TikTok via agc.sabah, and you can also find us on Facebook via American Green Corner Sabah.
From the beauty of Kinabalu to the white sands of Mengayau, this is the American Green Corner Podcast.
Hello, my name is Uzair, and this is another special episode of AGCS Sabah. My name is Ben, and I also have another awesome guest who is fresh from the United States. He is back in Sabah. Yes. Gordon, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting.
How are you?
Very good. Still a little bit jet lagged.
That's always normal, right? Always normal. Yeah. But first impressions, how was the US? The food, the place, the states?
So, I want to give a little bit of a backstory.
Sure.
Because I grew up around a lot of American culture, what we see on TV, we read in magazines, we read in books, right? So, I was very heavily influenced by American culture.
Of course.
Growing up, especially through music.
Yes.
I listened to a lot of American music. So, kira macam orang, am I allowed to speak Malay?
Of course.
Yes, okay. Macam fanboy lah.
Yes.
I mean, it's always been a dream of mine to visit the United States. And I never got the opportunity. It always seemed a bit out of reach financially, or even the time and the traveling that you need to plan around it. Like a week of travel in the US, you got to add on 3 days before and 3 days
after.
Of course. So that's already coming to 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes. So you can't just wake up one day and say, let's go to the US.
Yes.
I'm not privileged enough to be able to do that. I know some people can, good on you, but I cannot. So to be able to visit the US finally, I have to say, I was very pleased. I was very pleased. It was everything I wanted it to be. Like I had set a certain expectation and everything was exactly how it is. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Of course it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But yes, in one word, amazing.
Wonderful. I'll give you some time to explain much more in a future segment here. But Gordon, thank you so much for joining us at AGC Sabah. Perhaps for our listeners who are tuning in for the very first time and getting to know you, perhaps you'd like to inform to our viewers, what can you name 3 things that make Gordon?
3 things. Okay. I can name you the first 2.
Sure. Go ahead.
I think a lot of people know me for music. I play the guitar. And then of recent years, I've started working for the state government of Sabah. Currently, I'm the press secretary to the Minister of Finance, Dato' Sri Panglima Masidi Manjun. Third thing, I'll get back to you.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
But what's exciting that's happening in your pursuit for success right now? I know you're working with the state government. Is it something that you've always wanted to do?
It's something that I never thought I would do, actually.
But it turned out to be a great experience.
It is. And to be honest, I'm doing exactly what my dad used to do when he was still working.
I see.
I'm literally walking in his footsteps. So I grew up watching him do what I'm doing now. So it's a bit surreal, you know? And it was never planned. It was never my plan, definitely. I wanted to do music full time, and a little part of me still wants to do music full time. But I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity and this experience to be able to serve the state government and also the people of Sabah at the same time.
And you were selected in the IVLP program to go to the United States. How many weeks was that, by the way?
It was exactly 3 weeks to the day.
Okay.
21 days.
Okay. So 3 weeks. How were you able to juggle between being there and I'm sure Datuk Sri Masidi needs his press secretary. So I think I messaged you a few times and then you did update him. What was the dynamics like?
Well,
it's not really a holiday, right?
No, definitely it was not a holiday. It was not a holiday. We were there working the whole time. So, but juggling both the IVLP program itself and my work back home. Well, I think my boss gave me a slight break.
Okay,
he did not pressure me too much, but I do have other responsibilities within the government. besides just with the Ministry of Finance, I have other responsibilities. Those got in, but good time management, and the program was basically, you could say it's like a 9 to 5 there. So I just spent an extra 2 or 3 hours doing work from home, and that's about it.
Awesome. All right, we'll take a very short break, and coming up, Gordon will tell a lot about his IVLP trip, and stay tuned. This is AGC Sabah.
Green Corner Podcast.
This is AGC Sabah with Ben Uzair. I am together with Gordon Chin, an alumni of IVLP. And Gordon, thank you so much. Little jet lag still.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
What do you
actually?
Oh gosh, what do you do to make sure that each day passes by nicely so that you're able to function?
A lot of coffee.
Okay, yes, very
a lot
American.
of coffee, and try to fill up the day up so that I go to bed around 11:30 or 12.
Okay.
So that I just stay awake, and then go to bed the Malaysian time. Force myself. It never works. I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I went to bed around 1, so I'm only on 4 hours of sleep. So
hopefully you'll get better. Yeah.
Yes,
they say
yes.
magnesium helps. So
I do take. Actually, I do take
Good.
magnesium. Yes.
All right. Hopefully it'll set in and you'll be back to Malaysian time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
But
yes.
anyways, Gordon, we had a chat about this. We had a wonderful time at the IVLP. Perhaps for our listeners who are just now learning about IVLP for the very first time, IVLP stands for International Visitors Leadership Program.
Yes.
Please tell us more about this program.
Okay, so basically the IVLP it's an exchange program. It's the premier exchange program by the State Department in the US. So what happens is that every embassy or consulate all around, a US embassy or consulate all around the world, they will nominate a candidate to join the program. And through this program, they have hundreds and hundreds of topics. And mine was Global Economic Cooperation.
Global Economic Cooperation.
So
wow.
the IVLP has been around for 84 years. Some 250,000 people have participated. And out of those, around 450 eventually became or still are heads of states in their respective countries or
Wonderful.
states.
So talk to us about your IVLP program that you participated in. What places did you visit? What sort of programs did you participated in during the short 3 weeks that you were there?
Right. So we got to meet a lot of government bodies, government departments, NGOs, organizations, and most significant to me is that we got to meet a lot of the businesses, and ranging from small mom and pop shops all the way to unicorns and creators of unicorns.
Wow.
So for the uninitiated, a unicorn is when a company is valued at over $1 billion.
Wow.
So one of the highlights when I was there is, of course, I got to visit the Microsoft campus. That is quite a treat and a half. And then we got to visit this company called Plug and Play. So today, basically, they function as venture capitalists.
Okay.
They're an investor. So if you have a tech startup, doesn't have to be a tech startup, but I think they specialize in tech since they're based in Silicon Valley. So they invest a lot. Even if you're not a startup, even if you are an established company, but from another part of the world, and you want to expand in the US, they are the guys to go to.
Wow.
So they've recently expanded in an office in Kuala Lumpur.
Okay.
And hopefully, we might see something happen in Sabah sometime soon.
Microsoft, definitely in the West Coast. Which state, which city did you visit?
Di mana sudah itu? Well, I believe it was in San Francisco, Seattle.
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 Okay. Yeah.
Lupa sudah.
Definitely in the West Coast. And you've been
yeah.
to a lot of places. Yeah, you went
Yes.
to San Fran, you went to Seattle,
Yes,
you were in
so-
Kansas City as
Yes,
well. So
yes.
different places. What stood out for you?
So we started in DC, and of course, DC, you get to see all the picturesque, all the
Oh,
touristy
yes.
things. Lincoln Memorial, White House, Capitol Building, all the memorials. Especially, my favorite was Martin Luther King
Oh,
Memorial.
yes. That's a new
Yeah.
one. I didn't get the chance
And
to visit that one. Yeah.
We were told that the children of Martin Luther King said that is the most accurate representation of their father's
Nice.
image.
Wow.
So it was very surreal. It was huge. I think it was like 30. It had to be like 30 feet tall or something like that. So and it was like 3D. So it was amazing. And then from DC is where we got to meet a lot of the federal departments and
Yes.
agencies and all these things. Like,
It's like a Putrajaya.
yeah, basically it's basically Putrajaya, right? Yeah. So yeah, from there we went to Kansas City. So we went from like the capital and then into like Kansas City is like a small city. It's like a nice balance. It's not too gigantic. And then we had a lot of good barbecue.
I'm sure.
So, Chef Big Dan, if you're listening, I have a lot of tips and stories to share with you about barbecue. Anyway, a lot of good food. I met a lot of good people. And then from there, we went to Seattle. So, Seattle is slightly bigger city, slightly more urban.
Cosmopolitan.
It's more cosmo. And from there, we ended up in San Francisco, which is, of course, another coastal city.
Yeah.
So there we did get to do quite a bit of touristy things as well,
Okay.
like visit the Golden Gate Bridge,
Nice.
Alcatraz,
Yes.
eat the local seafood, So
And lobster too.
Lobster, of course.
The chowder is very famous
Yes.
there. Nice.
I've had quite a few bowls of clam chowder. So
Well done. Good. Were you able to visit the Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley on the other side of the bay?
So unfortunately, we didn't have too much time, but
Okay.
we did get to visit quite a few nature-oriented tourist spots. We got to see the big waterfall. I forgot the name. I'm gonna have to check my notes and see the pictures again.
Okay,
But yeah, we
okay.
got to visit a nice big waterfall. So yeah, that was nice. That was
Awesome.
about an hour drive out of San Francisco. So yeah.
Now, out of the many places that you visited, which experience made you say, "Hey, we can do this in Sabah"?
I would say, gosh, there's too many because each city offered its own charm,
Okay.
and offered its own speciality. There's always a little bit of something that we can take from each city, but of course, I think a lot of it. This will definitely resonate with a lot of Sabahans. Is the public transport, right? And of course, we don't have like underground trains. We don't have like electric buses. The cable cars,
Yes.
right? We don't have cable cars, things like that. But I'm not saying like, okay, let's construct cable cars now.
Yeah.
No, but there's a lot of ways to provide public transport, and it's not just limited down to LRT and train
Yes.
or buses. Like whenever we talk about public transport in Sabah, everybody seems to be very asphyxiated with LRT for some
Yes.
reason. Kenapa Sabah belum ada LRT? My question is, do we really need LRT as the solution? There's a lot of other ways. Trams, of course, we went to in Kansas City. There were a lot of the free. What do they call that? Street carts, was it? I
Okay,
think?
like street cars, yes.
Yeah, street carts. That was free, and that was electric, so that's green. So, we don't have to be asphyxiated to just one thing. There's a lot of other things, a lot of other ways that we can improve public transport in Sabah.
Awesome. All right, we're going to take a very short break here, and coming up, Gordon will share his green goals, sustainable practices, environmental initiatives, and perhaps he will share some of his personal eco-friendly tips. Stay tuned. This is AGC Sabah. This is AGC Sabah. My name is Ben Uzair, together with our guest today, Gordon Chin. Gordon, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Again, my pleasure, Ben.
Sounds so exciting, your IVLP trip. My gosh, I feel like I want to go on one in the future.
Yes, I hope you get to. I have.
Really, really fun. Okay, our next segment is green goals. We are going to talk about sustainable practices, not very deep things, but perhaps to encourage people, especially to our listeners, to perhaps talk about conservation, environmental issues, and whatnot, and perhaps to learn a little bit from you in terms of if there are any little things that you do at home or at work to create a greener world. So, what are you doing in your life now, Gordon, in terms of, trying to create a greener, sustainable world? I'm sure there are little things that you do at work or even at home.
Yes, so this topic is very special to me because I believe in the green initiatives. I believe in saving the environment, and I believe that all of us can do something. But I understand that it can be quite challenging
Yes.
to start. So I like to tell people, or I tell myself actually, baby steps.
Yes.
You know, start small. Stop using plastic straws. Stop using plastic bags. Like in Kota Kinabalu, I think our beloved mayor, Dato Sri Sabin, has already start enforcing the no plastic bag rules in
Yes.
Kota Kinabalu.
When we've been trying it for years and finally it's here.
Finally it's here, and it's baby steps, you know. But don't feel too pressured, you know, because I believe society, the industry, we've been so driven by plastic use, or not driven, but it is part of our culture.
Yes.
It's part of society for so long. It's really difficult to adapt to. Alternatives,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Because okay, I'll give you an example. There's a famous white and blue branded coffee chain.
yes.
I don't know if we're allowed to mention brand names
You
here.
can, you can, but it's
so
okay.
Zeus.
Yes.
I love drinking Zeus, and we can see one of Zeus's initiatives is to use the biodegradable straws.
Yes.
Right, but this is nothing against Zeus, but I'm just trying to demonstrate a common problem that all of us face. Is first of all, the straws after 20 minutes or so, it
will-
disintegrates and
yes.
becomes spaghetti.
Yes.
And
I've experienced
yes,
that myself.
and I love Zeus. But I'll just drink straight from the cup. But the other problem is that the cup is still plastic. Again, I'm not bashing Zeus, but I'm illustrating that we are not there yet in terms of fully green, you know. Society has not adapted to it. The industry has not adapted to it. And I understand the reason why Zeus has not changed from plastic cups to an alternative material is because there simply isn't any yet that is feasible for them. From a business standpoint and from from an environmental standpoint. So, you know, things like that. We don't have the materials, the raw materials to manufacture alternative packaging solutions. We don't have the manufacturers to make it, right? Okay, so going back to the US, I know I think you mentioned this off camera, but I'll do your job for you.
Go ahead.
In the US, a lot of the takeout, right? Even if we see on TV, when they say Chinese takeout, what is it in? It's in a paper box.
Yes.
And it's biodegradable, of course. And then even like our polystyrene tapao, over there, it's like made out of cardboard. It's made out of kertas lah,
Yes.
basically. All is biodegradable. And then you see a lot of bamboo or wooden spoons,
Yes.
lesser plastic utensils. They call it silverware.
Yes. Silverware, but
Silverware,
yes,
but it's plastic. You know, but you know, so in the US, probably they've adopted all these measures a long time ago. So they already identified and started to grow these materials because they have to be biodegradable. They must be made out of, you know, natural. What do you call this?
like natural fibers, so that they are biodegradable, that they can disintegrate easily.
Correct.
And,
So they must be made out of natural raw materials, kan? So we don't have that yet, and then we don't have the manufacturing for that yet. But it will take time. So I'm not saying don't do it. No, please do your little bit. Save the turtles. Use less plastic. Use less plastic straws, and just these little. If you can afford it, buy an EV.
Yes.
But that's another topic for another day.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
So I mean, but yeah, not everybody can. You know, don't be pressured. Don't go and sell your Myvi and ikat perut and buy an EV just because you love the environment. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yes.
And it shouldn't work that way. You know. So
Baby steps. I think
Baby
that
steps.
out of all the points that you mentioned, the baby steps, is the best way, sustainable way to go for it.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your green goals today, Gordon. All right, we'll take a very short break, and coming up in our final segment, Blue Horizon, Gordon will share his future plans, thinking ahead, and also provide us with a reflection. Stay tuned. This is AGC Sabah. Habis nafas sudah AGC. This is AGC Sabah with yours truly, Ben Uzair. I am joined with a guest today, my good friend, Gordon Chin.
Thank you, Ben.
So, Gordon, before we dive into our closing topics for today, I know you love music.
Yes, I
and
do.
America is a great place for music.
Yes, I do.
Away from the IVLP program, and whilst you were there in Kansas City, Seattle, San Francisco, please tell me you did go to a live music place and, you know, at least discover something about music while you're there. Talk to us about
Yes.
funny experiences.
In fact, when we were in Kansas City, I got to visit. One of the program was to visit the Jazz Museum.
Oh, I love jazz.
So
yes.
that was a real treat, and to learn how jazz came to be. And you know what's funny, that if we say jazz today, it's like, oh, sophisticated, like atas, very atas kind of
Big
music.
band era when things are very classic and sophisticated. But no,
It had very humble and very opposite beginnings.
Yes.
Jazz was seen as macam a bit rebellious.
Yes,
A little bit like how punk rock was when we were growing up. It was seen as rebellious. So it was amazing to see how they call them the jazz cats back in the day.
Yeah.
They turn it into something that is, what we see today as something that is sophisticated and up, so upmarket.
Yes.
So that's great.
we think of names like Thelonious Monk and
yes,
oh
you
my
name
God,
it,
so
you name
many of those wonderful Ella Fitzgerald and
Uh.
whatnot, and tracing back jazz in New Orleans, even in
Yes.
Louisiana, also a different story. But hey, another reason to go back to the States
Exactly.
to fill us in with much more information about music and whatnot. But I'm glad you get to experience all of
Yes,
that.
and then
yeah.
we also got to watch 2 blues shows. One in DC. It was actually
Oh,
in a
nice.
church.
Okay.
So every Monday night, that church they put on something like a charity blues show. It's for everybody to just come enjoy the music, do a little bit of charity. And then I went right next to my hotel in San Francisco. There was this small blues joint called Biscuits and Blues. So they
Biscuits
have
and blues. Oh, sounds so
Yeah.
southern. My God, I love it.
Biscuits and Blues. So so they have live blues music every night,
Yeah.
different act every night. So I managed to pop in for, I believe, about 45 minutes, and it was really good, to experience blues from where it was born, So yeah.
Now, the reason why I bring that up because you're also passionate about the music scene and music
Yes.
industry here in
Yes.
Sabah.
Yes.
Perhaps you'd like to share, based on your short visit, were there things that you observed in the United States and you said, hey, I think we can implement that in Sabah as well?
Well, honestly, okay, this is gonna be this can be a whole podcast and a half by itself, right?
I promise we'll take you to a different podcast to discuss that. But perhaps briefly, just for the sake of our
I mean, at the
show
end of
today.
the day, musicians, this is what I've always believed. Musicians are entrepreneurs.
Yes.
You are not employees of the venue or your manager. You're entrepreneurs, and you have to fight for your own value, and you have to develop your product and your brand just like any other business. Just because you play the guitar, just because you sing well, doesn't mean automatically people will pay you to watch you.
Of course.
That's not how it works. Don't expect that. Oh, I play the guitar. I can sing. I play the drums. I should be paid like the other dude who plays the guitar. The other dude who sings. No, you got to be better. Just like any other business. So we're talking about entrepreneurship. So and again, it somewhat ties back to my IVLP program,
Yes.
which is about global economic cooperation. How do musicians in Sabah can grow your economy, right? Among musicians. So again, I'm starting to delve too deep here. I don't know, but
We'll have a future discussion about
Yes.
that. Yeah, future discussion. All right. Well, anyways, I'm going to try to simmer it back down here. Any exciting plans ahead for you, Gordon?
well, the time will tell. In this world, we can't predict the future. Nobody can predict the future, no matter what. But of course, I'm just trying to do my best for today. Today, I'm trying to do my best for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's all we can afford to do right now. And of course, I think everybody's expecting the elections to be coming around the corner
coming up.
sometime next year,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. So, well, who knows? Exciting times. But I believe that we have enough ideas and dreams to chase to last us a lifetime.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm certain that a lot of our IVLP candidates or those who are wishing to be selected might seek inspiration from today's broadcast today. So perhaps you'd like to give some advice to our future IVLP participants.
Right.
There might be candidates. They might be finding out much more about the program. Would you like to give them some advice about what they should do when they do get selected later?
Don't bring your laptop. Actually, in all seriousness, this is a joke, but another alumni told me that advice.
Okay.
Don't bring your laptop. And I'm like, I should have listened. No, I'm just kidding. But, take full advantage of it. Do everything, because you have beyond the 9 to 5 programming, all the meetings, all the people you're going to meet. Beyond that, they do organize optional cultural programs. For example, visiting the jazz museum.
Yes.
So those are all optional, right? Do all of them. Do all of them. They're all locals. They're organized by local organizations who knows the city, who knows the best spots. Do all of them. Do your shopping in between or after. So it's yeah, that's it. Just enjoy the ride.
Awesome.
It's life-changing.
Awesome. Any last words that you'd like to share with our viewers today?
Well, continue to be your best. Okay, we are living in exciting times now, where everybody is allowed to dream and everybody is allowed to chase their dreams, and the limitations are getting less and less. We are living in a borderless world. Communication is at our fingertips. Make use of all of it and do your best. I hope to see all of you succeed.
Stupendously, wonderfully put together. Thank you so much, Gordon. And that's all the time that we have left in AGC Sabah today. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you with another guest in a future episode. My name is Ben. Take care.